It's very surreal, and it's been 25 years of just working really hard and trying my best to keep growing and keep opening up doors. So I'm just very honored, very honored.
Congratulations, and take this
Happy
as
that
well.
my daughter got to see that.
You know, it was great that she was there with you and you took her up on stage. She's so grown though now. She is so grown.
Taller than me, I don't like it at all.
That's me. I mean,
So happy that she was here, and Rumi, who's on the album, my youngest daughter, she was watching. I forgot to thank her, so I get to thank her now. Thank you, Rumi. I did not put any limitations. I didn't put, I didn't even say I'm gonna do any specific type of album. I just did whatever I loved, and I was inspired by so many different travels and types of music that I was exposed to, going to watch my sister DJ and, going to some of the festivals and watching my husband perform. And I was really inspired by Africa and Fela Kuti and jazz, and I kind of mixed everything together and came up with my own little genre. So I'm proud of this album. I've had my life experiences, definitely. I mean, I haven't had this perfect, flawless life, and any relationship, you go through issues and you have to learn each other, and you grow and you have painful moments. And I feel like, a lot of my life experiences I used in this album. There's a way that I'm singing that's very different. And I think I had an epiphany when I did Cadillac Records, when I played at a... So everyone would know how much I, look forward to coming to Nigeria. And I wanted everyone to know how much I appreciated how beautiful everyone is and their amazing spirits, that I admire that. And during my sound check, someone sang the song to me, and I said, I think I could learn that. So I wrote down the lyrics and wrote out the sheet music for my piano player to play, and we did it.
They say you should never meet your heroes, but would you ever expect someone to hurl an insult straight at Beyoncé, especially in a place as grand as the Egyptian pyramids? Rumors claim that's exactly what happened years ago when Dr. Zahi Hawass, known to many as the gatekeeper of the pyramids, allegedly called her stupid and outright refused to continue her tour. The story exploded into headlines, sparked countless debates, and left fans wondering if the Queen Bey really was banned from setting foot near those ancient wonders again. Yet, amid all the speculation, something much bigger lies beneath the surface: the intersection of international fame, cultural expectations, and a singer unafraid of stepping out of her comfort zone. Many are aware of Beyoncé's fascination with Egyptian imagery. She's referenced it in shows, music videos, and bold photo shoots. But few expected an incident so dramatic that an iconic archaeologist would dismiss one of the world's biggest superstars. While the details remain contested, the story continues to resurface every few years. So let's unravel the intrigue surrounding Dr. Hawass, uncover Beyoncé's own response to the scandal, and explore why controversies like these seem to follow her wherever she goes. By the end, you might find yourself wondering if such drama only amplifies her influence, or if it's just another day in the life of an artist who dares to push boundaries, whether in music, fashion, or an unexpected trip to the pyramids. The gatekeeper of the pyramids, Dr. Zahi Hawass. Anyone could claim to rule over Egypt's ancient sites. It would be Dr. Zahi Hawass. A legendary archaeologist with a flair for the dramatic, he's been called the real-life Indiana Jones, a man who's spent decades unearthing truths buried in the desert. He has led countless excavations, served as Egypt's Minister of Antiquities, and spearheaded campaigns to retrieve cultural artifacts taken abroad. Above all, he's widely admired for his passion in preserving Egypt's heritage. Yet, for every fan, there's a critic. Dr. Hawass's bold personality has generated controversy. Some say he's overbearing, craving the spotlight as fiercely as any Hollywood celebrity. He's dismissed competing theories about Egyptian history in colorful ways, labeling opponents pyramidiots and doubling down when pressed. This direct and sometimes abrasive attitude has brought him as much fame as it has criticism. So when a superstar like Beyoncé decided to tour the pyramids, it seemed natural for Dr. Hawass, the so-called guardian of Giza, to guide her personally. He was known to give private tours to visiting VIPs, from Hollywood actors to political dignitaries. But he also had a reputation for booting out anyone who violated his rules. The moment rumors surfaced about an argument, the world's collective ears perked up. Had Dr. Hawass really denied Beyoncé access to one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world? And if so, what made him react so harshly? The alleged ban. What happened at the pyramids? According to the rumors, it all began when Beyoncé arrived late for a scheduled tour with Dr. Hawass. The exact year remains a point of dispute. Some claim it was 2013, others insist it happened in 2009. Either way, it's said the meeting was set for a certain time, but Beyoncé showed up long after that. Dr. Hawass allegedly demanded an apology, but when she didn't immediately respond, he decided things weren't off to a great start. The tension only escalated when the singer's guard and personal photographer clashed with Dr. Hawass's own photographer. Stories suggest Beyoncé wanted to capture goddess-themed shots among the ancient stones, dressed in white to channel a Cleopatra-like vibe. Dr. Hawass apparently had no issue with a photo session. He often enjoyed publicity for the site, but took offense when Beyoncé's team allegedly tried to prevent his photographer from snapping pictures. At some point, there was reported pushing and shouting, which Dr. Hawass viewed as a direct show of disrespect. In a later interview, Dr. Hawass claimed he found her rude and stupid, concluding she wasn't worthy of his time. The final blow? He supposedly banned her from setting foot on another tour under his supervision, effectively blocking her from any VIP access he controlled. News outlets ran wild with the story, fueling rumors that Beyoncé could never return to the pyramids. But that wasn't all. The worldwide buzz soon reached Beyoncé's own team. They insisted the narrative was blown out of proportion, or simply not true at all. While Dr. Hawass stood by his version of events, Beyoncé's publicists denied any confrontation, saying she had never been treated rudely in Egypt and wouldn't have tolerated it if she were. Nonetheless, the alleged ban lived on in social media chatter, press reports, and fan debates, creating a tangled web of uncertainty about what really happened. Beyoncé's side of the story: denial and confusion, with headlines proclaiming, "Beyoncé banned from the pyramids." It didn't take long for her representatives to strike back. They labeled Dr. Hawass's comments as fabricated, pointing to inconsistencies. For one, they noted that the last time Beyoncé visited Egypt was actually 2009, not 2013, when certain news reports suggested this dust-up took place. Photographs exist of her there in 2009, posing near the Sphinx and taking in the awe of ancient tombs. So why had the story resurged years later? Some believe Dr. Hawass was simply reminiscing about the event, whenever it happened, and then his remarks were reported as if it were recent news. Others argue the story might have been exaggerated from the start, fueling controversy for clicks. Either way, fans were left with a puzzle. If Beyoncé was indeed banned, why did it take so long for the ban to become public knowledge? Was it possible Dr. Hawass enjoyed the media frenzy? Or was Beyoncé's team attempting to smooth things over by denying an embarrassing moment? As the debate raged, one thing was certain: the singer was hardly one to shy away from Egyptian influences afterward. She continued referencing Cleopatra, pharaohs, and goddess motifs in her subsequent work, from music videos to stage costumes. If she was truly barred, it didn't seem to stop her from celebrating the culture. Yet this entire controversy also highlighted something else. Beyoncé has a knack for stirring up chatter wherever she goes. Whether it's a rumored feud, a surprising collaboration, or an unexpected shift in musical genre, people seem eager to scrutinize her every move. And what happened next in her career was no exception. It was another curveball that caught fans off guard, sparking a brand new set of debates. Beyoncé's ongoing fascination with Egypt. Even before the alleged fallout, Beyoncé had embraced Egyptian imagery on multiple occasions, from her early Crazy in Love performances, where she wore regal, gold-inflected outfits, to her ambitious stage sets that featured pyramids projected as a backdrop. It was clear she found inspiration in Egypt's storied past. At one point during that 2009 trip, she famously sang inside a pyramid, marveling at the pure acoustics of the chamber. She described it as one of the most spiritually moving performances she'd ever experienced, claiming she could have stayed in that ancient echo forever. From then on, references to Cleopatra, Nefertiti, and other prominent queens of the Nile kept popping up in her shows. Some critics saw it as mere theatrics, an exotic theme to dazzle her audience, while fans argued it was a celebration of powerful female icons throughout history. Regardless of interpretation, her fascination never truly waned. Even in her more recent performances, one can spot the nods: elaborate golden headdresses, stylized references to the Eye of Horus, and sets reminiscent of temples along the Nile. In a sense, this imagery became part of her larger-than-life persona. She's often positioned herself as a modern-day queen, reinventing what it means to be an entertainer who not only sings and dances, but also crafts entire worlds on stage. But even as she continued to channel ancient Egypt in her art, Beyoncé surprised the world by exploring something distinctly different: a deep foray into country music. While some fans embraced her creative expansion, others found themselves scratching their heads. After all, how does a performer who references Cleopatra wind up strumming guitars on a stage in cowboy boots? From pyramids to cowboy hats, the Cowboy Carter controversy, the shift might seem abrupt, yet it actually fits Beyoncé's pattern. She loves challenging expectations. Enter Cowboy Carter, the rumored title of her country album, an album that both enthralled and frustrated different segments of her fan base. She'd flirted with country sounds before, from her 2016 track Daddy Lessons to a memorable performance alongside the country band Sugarland back in 2007. But a full-scale country project, that was new territory. When Cowboy Carter finally dropped, it set off a wave of debate. Some critics insisted the songs were undeniably good, praising her for paying homage to her Texas roots. Others felt she was intruding on a genre she didn't belong to, effectively overshadowing established country stars. Then came the award circuit. Beyoncé earned wins at certain ceremonies, but the Country Music Awards, CMAs, reportedly snubbed her. Fans saw it as a deliberate slight, given that she'd pulled off a record-breaking number of nominations elsewhere. Suddenly, talk of the Pyramid Ban found a strange parallel. Once again, the narrative was that Beyoncé was stepping into a domain guarded by gatekeepers. Just as she'd clashed with Dr. Hawass, she was now seemingly clashing with traditionalists in the country world. For some watchers, it was the same story in a different costume. A powerful figure confronting institutions that didn't quite know how to handle her presence. Naturally, the snub raised eyebrows. Was it about musical quality, or was there a hidden bias at play? Everyone had a theory. Detractors argued she only dabbles in genres to collect accolades, citing her history of pop, R&B, hip-hop, and now country. Meanwhile, devoted fans applauded her versatility, saying she was simply showcasing another dimension of her talent. Ironically, controversy has a way of amplifying her presence, and the more people debated Cowboy Carter, the more attention it received. Award show tensions and fan reactions. When Beyoncé lost out on CMA nominations, the uproar was immediate. Some fans were outraged at the perceived snobbery, pointing to Texas Hold'em, one of the biggest hits from her new album, as proof she'd earned a seat at the country music table. They argued that if she was good enough for a primetime Grammy nod and a string of other awards, why was she being brushed off by country's biggest institution? The Country Music Awards had faced controversy with Beyoncé before. In 2016, she performed Daddy Lessons with the Chicks, formerly Dixie Chicks, only to be met with a barrage of criticism from certain corners of the country community who felt she didn't belong at their ceremony. Back then, she forged a deep connection with the Chicks' lead singer, Natalie Maines, who spoke out against the hostile reception. The negativity apparently left a mark on Beyoncé, enough that she'd later hint those experiences fueled her desire to delve deeper into country's roots, culminating in Cowboy Carter. Fans on the other side of the fence see it differently. They question whether a big star can waltz into a genre, gain massive media coverage, and walk away with major trophies at the expense of lifelong country artists. Some critics even floated conspiracy theories, suggesting awards committees were rigged to ensure Beyoncé won in every category across multiple genres. While there's no proof of that, it demonstrates just how polarizing her presence can be. But that's exactly the pattern we've seen before, isn't it? Whether it's Dr. Hawass calling her unworthy of the pyramids, or country purists refusing to acknowledge her album, Beyoncé is often at the epicenter of feuds. And yet, these moments of friction rarely diminish her star power. If anything, they reinforce her status as a cultural force, someone capable of shaking up traditions and sparking new conversations. Conclusion: the power of controversy, from an alleged ban at the Egyptian pyramids to a dramatic foray into the country music scene. Beyoncé has repeatedly proven one thing: she's not here to play it safe. Whether you believe Dr. Zahi Hawass's account or trust Beyoncé's denial, the incident became a talking point that still crops up, suggesting she has a way of commanding attention in every corner of the globe, even in the ancient tombs of Giza. Likewise, her entry into country music ruffled feathers, but it also opened doors to fresh creative possibilities. Critics may dismiss her for dabbling in too many genres, but fans see it as an expression of her versatility. Each controversy, from allegedly being called stupid by the world's most famous archaeologist to accusations of overshadowing fellow country artists, only cements her place at the forefront of popular culture. There's a question lingering at the end of all this. Does the continual swirl of headlines push her artistry further, or does the drama overshadow the music itself? In truth, it might do both. Controversy can be exhausting, but it can also bring new audiences to the table. For some listeners, the pyramid debacle was the first they heard of Dr. Hawass and his passion for preserving ancient sites. For others, the Cowboy Carter debate spotlighted issues of inclusivity in country music. And so we circle back to the pyramids, the country songs, and the unstoppable wave that is Beyoncé. Love her or not, she remains a magnet for conversation, someone who inspires fascination, admiration, and sometimes frustration. As you walk away from this story, ask yourself, does the chatter actually weaken her hold on our collective imagination, or is it precisely what keeps her name etched into history, just like the ancient stones she once sang among? Maybe the biggest revelation isn't about a ban or an award snub at all. Perhaps it's that, time and again, Beyoncé transcends genres, expectations, and even scandals, leaving a trail of intrigue in her wake.